Do not obey in advance. I'm sure you've heard that lately. It's lesson number 1 from Timothy Snyder's On Tyranny, 20 Lessons from the 20th Century. They're very timely. I had to re-record this video because so much has happened since I recorded just 2 or 3 days ago. Let's get started. Most of the power of authoritarianism is freely given. In times like these, individuals think ahead about what a more repressive government will want and then offer themselves without being asked. A citizen who adapts in this way is teaching power what it can do. One of the biggest things from this part of the book is that the first heedless acts of conformity can't be reversed. That's really, really important. As Americans, we're really lucky and we haven't dealt with this much political instability. Lots of people all over the world deal with this as a matter of course in their daily lives. This is something we've seen before in history, and this is something we can combat actively. By the way, this isn't a political statement. This is a pro-democracy statement. Snyder gives 2 examples here from history: the German elections of 1932, which permitted Adolf Hitler to form a government, and the Czechoslovak elections of 1946, where the communists then came into power. Because enough people in both cases voluntarily extended their service to the new leader, both Nazis and communists realized that they could move quickly to a full regime change. This is what we have to guard against with civil society in America. Hannah Arendt has also analyzed this from a historical perspective. Complying in advance or anticipatory obedience means adapting instinctively without reflecting. One of the examples in the book is a Yale University study from 1961, where participants were told that they were administering an electrical shock, an experiment about learning. Although people on the other side of the partition were just pretending to get electrical shocks, most of the participants in the study listened to instructions and continued to apply pressure even when they heard things like pounding on the glass and screaming. This is a time in history where being receptive to new rules in a new setting really requires some reflection. Punk rock people that watch this will understand what I mean when I say it's really disturbing to see people that just don't question any type of authority. You don't have to be adversarial or confrontational to think about these things in a way that provides more freedom for intellectuals, artists, educators, researchers, and people. Just yesterday in the New York Times, there's an opinion piece by several academics who study authoritarianism called "No One Has Ever Defeated Autocracy from the Sidelines." They're speaking specifically about what's going on in American life right now. Here's a breakdown of some of that. First sentence: how will Americans know when we've lost our democracy? This is a really important essay that speaks to the heart of all 20 lessons in On Tyranny, but especially this first one. These political scientists say that today's autocrats convert public institutions into political weapons. They use law enforcement, tax and regulatory agencies, they bully the media, and try to force civil society onto the sidelines and into compliance. They call this competitive authoritarianism. They've diagnosed the United States as crossing the line into this competitive authoritarianism. The reason for this, they say, citizens must think twice about opposing or criticizing their government. And this means that we no longer live in a full democracy. Is important. When even a paper like the New York Times, which is mainstream and often criticized for its corporatist views, is publishing things like this from credible sources, it might be worth it to listen. What we're seeing is a growing body of work about this slide into autocracy or authoritarianism. The Trump administration is taking legal action against a large number of individuals, companies, and government officials that it perceives as its opponents. The Trump administration has also targeted law firms, Democratic fundraisers, and the media. The political scientist who wrote this article called the speed and force at which the Trump administration is attacking its opponents and the media remarkable, saying that it's happening quicker than equivalent actions by elected autocrats in other countries such as Hungary, India, Turkey, and Venezuela. The Department of Education has opened investigations into more than 50 universities' diversity practices, and it's placed more than 60 universities under investigation for what it calls anti-Semitism. It seems to be a smokescreen to quell dissent. The attacks on universities alone should make all of civil society stand up and do something. And for those of you who are a little more punk rock, it's a little bit weird to be on the same side as Harvard in a fight. And don't forget that even Republicans are feeling scared. Tim Murkowski said she was afraid to use her voice. She's a United States senator. She has one of the highest paid and most politically powerful positions in the United States for someone interested in public service that wants to use their voice. The administration's authoritarian offensive has had a clear effect in American life. Really changed the way that Americans behave. Oh my gosh. Political opposition should be constitutionally protected speech. Authors say that many politicians and organizations that should be serving as watchdogs at a time like this are silencing themselves and retreating to the sidelines. This is exactly what Snyder says we shouldn't do. It's lesson number 1, guys. There's 19 more. And bodily autonomy. Americans are living under a new regime. The question now is whether we will allow it to take root. I personally think that everyday citizens are showing up for democracy. The experts say what is necessary is for civic leaders to join the fight. But these experts are calling on civil society to act collectively because we can't defeat autocracy from the sidelines. What century is it? What century is it? I can't even say the century correctly. Seriously, what century is it? I clearly can't say it correctly.